Hi, everyone.
Thank you.
Everyone, my name is Ray, and together with Nicole and Pella and Jeff, we did the Transformative Technology Academy earlier this year. Actually, just 2 months ago. We started 2 months ago. It was from September 15th to October 15th, and what it was a 4-week entrepreneurial program for people interested in creating a transformative tech startup or people who already have started. So what happened was that we got 1,000 applications from 69 different countries. Woohoo! And of those, we had a lot of people participate, so hundreds of teams. And we had, like I said, people who are full-time, who were in the entrepreneurship track, and then those who were still aspiring entrepreneurs, so not yet full-time, working on the project, who were in the innovator track. And what we did was we took the opportunity to get to know these entrepreneurs a lot better, and we invited some of them to pitch in front of our investor judges today. I also want to say that our investor judges, most of them have seen a portion of the companies because they very kindly volunteered their time to do investor office hours. So when Mike said, many entrepreneurs don't ask him how he thinks, that's exactly what we did in investor office hours, where we did nothing but hear how you thought about the companies. And he was very generous and blunt with his feedback, which was very, very useful. So I wanted to tell you guys how this format of the next hour will go. So we'll have 6 companies. Unfortunately, a lot of companies we invited were overseas, so they could not make it, and then we didn't have them participate. So this by no means that we only found 6 companies. These just happen to be a portion or selection of some of the awesome companies we discovered. And what will happen is that they will all be given about 3 to 3.5 minutes to pitch, and then we will give the investors, all of you still have your mics, 3 minutes to ask Q&A. So keep your questions super short. The entrepreneurs have all been asked to keep their responses really short as well. And then I will boo you off the stage, entrepreneurs, when you run over time. And then what will happen is that we will be giving away 2 prizes. So the first prize will be a marketing package that we'll disclose more later from Gordy, sitting over there, from Conscious Ventures and Conscious Partners. And then the second prize will be Investor's Choice, as determined by the 5 of you. Okay? I did think briefly about doing a audience choice, but I think the Wi-Fi and connection's not good enough to do that, so we won't make it painful that way. So without further ado, we'll have our first entrepreneur come up. So Saurabh is a entrepreneur who is the CEO of Relax VR, which does pretty much exactly what you think it does, but I'll let him explain that more. You might have also seen him as part of a past cohort at Boost VC, which is an accelerator here in the Bay Area. So let's welcome Saurabh.
Everybody. When I was in high school, facing the pressures of student life, my parents decided that I need to be doing yoga and meditation. I wasn't too happy about it at the time, but it turned out this stuff works. My grades improved, I felt better, so much so that as I went through university and became a software developer in the tech world, I had this parallel life where I trained to be a yoga teacher and spent 2 years living in an ashram in India. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to merge these 2 lives together, and so was born Relax VR, where we're helping people escape and unwind using virtual reality and meditation. The problem we're solving is of environmental stress. We live in concrete jungles with lots of noise, distractions, and tension, and many people can't get away. They don't have time, they don't have money, some people can't physically leave. And virtual reality can help. You put on a virtual reality headset and you're transported to a beach, a forest, or a mountain. You put on a guided meditation and you sit back and relax. We provide a full turnkey solution with both hardware and software to help businesses help their clients relax. Now, does this work? Well, VR has been around for a while, and there's 25 years of research showing the efficacy of virtual reality in reducing stress and anxiety. We've had 2 pilot studies conducted on Relax VR, one at a university in Argentina and another in Spain, showing its efficacy in reducing stress and increasing pain tolerance. Now, you can apply this to multiple different verticals, from dentistry, airlines, corporate wellness. We chose the spa industry because they're coming to us saying they want it, and we have what they want. There's many different types of spas. There's medical spas, day spas, hotel spas. I never knew any of this until they came to us. And the profile that fits us best is the kind of medical established. Medical spas, dental spas, but day spas are also using what we have. This is an example of a spa in Australia using Relax VR with a foot bath. The value that we're providing to spas is that they are able to differentiate themselves from all the other industries that are becoming spa-like because of this global wellness trend, and it also re-engages their customers that want something new and interesting. We also know people love our app because previously we were targeting the consumer space. We were the #1 virtual reality relaxation app on mobile VR. We had over 500,000 downloads and we're top the charts across iOS, Android, Gear VR, and Daydream. Our business model for the spa industry is an upfront setup fee plus a subscription model, which per unit will look to get us between $4,000 to $5,000 in revenue in the first year. We don't have enough data yet to calculate lifetime value or cost of acquisition just yet. I'm founder and CEO. I've created 2 prior wellness apps. I worked at companies like IBM. We also have a clinical psychologist on our team that has 15 years experience in VR and mental health and has published 4 papers on the subject. We also have a designer and developer who's worked on VR relaxation apps before. We got some funding from Google. In our early days, we went through Boost VC's accelerated program late last year, and we've also received grant money from the Australian government. We're now looking to raise $250K. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Questions from the investors?
So what's your product?
So our product is a virtual reality application that helps people relax. So,
but your unique product is the content that is in that you're developing.
You're not making the headset, right?
We're not making the headset. We're getting off-the-shelf hardware, the headset, headphones, and putting our app onto it and then giving it to spas.
So what's protectable?
Well, we have exclusive content. We're the first in the space, and we have a team that has domain expertise. So we have the clinical psychologists, I have the meditation experience, and we feel like we're the best people out there to do it.
More questions?
Just pushing on that, who are your competitors and how do you differentiate from them?
We have 2 types of competitors. One are the existing spa companies that have spas or are doing cosmetics, and they're interested in virtual reality. They've created a small kind of product that they've used with their own cosmetics. There's 3 or 4 of those guys. Another one is Guided VR, who's doing virtual reality for everything under the sun. They're doing it for corporate wellness, spas, first responders, aged care. We are specifically focusing on spas because we see where the traction is. It's low barriers to entry. We've tried dental, did some pilots. Slow moving, has more work to be done.
Okay, one more question. No questions?
I think we're...
Okay, all right. Thank you, Saurabh.
Thank you.
All right. Can I have the next person get? Okay, all right. So thanks, Saurabh. I look forward to a Relax VR type experience soon. Maybe after this conference ends with Nicole. So next we have Rachel. Rachel comes to us from Atlanta. She discovered a most pressing problem when she was graduating from her master's program in therapy. And she just finished her Techstars Atlanta program. And we're really happy to have her here today to talk about Motivo. So welcome, Rachel.
Can't you get me a guy to give you some food?
My name is Rachel McCrickard. I'm the CEO and founder of Motivo, and I'm also a licensed marriage and family therapist. The American Counseling Association says that Motivo is solving the most important problem facing the mental health profession today, and I'm thrilled to share how we do it. This is a picture of me at my graduation. I had just completed my master's degree, and there were a few things I didn't know. One, I didn't know my graduation cap was on backwards. Seriously, not one person alerted me of this the entire day. And two, I didn't know that it was going to take me 3 more years and $8,000 more in order to obtain a credential as a licensed therapist. You see, for a therapist, getting your degree is actually the easy part. It's becoming licensed that is so hard. This is something that few people realize about becoming a therapist, so let me quickly explain how it works. Very similar to residency for a doctor, new therapists are required to complete 2 to 4 years of consultation with a more seasoned clinician after they graduate. This process is called clinical supervision. These sessions happen weekly, face-to-face, and range anywhere from $80 to $150 an hour. It's the responsibility of the new therapist to find and pay for these hours. However, there's a shortage of clinical supervisors, so they're very difficult to find in rural areas. I experienced this struggle myself when I was working towards my credential. I drove 4 hours round trip from Chattanooga to Atlanta in order to get to the closest clinical supervisor. So my required 200 hours actually took me 800 hours with drive time. This is a pain point experienced by every social worker, therapist, and addiction counselor who enters the field. Over the last few years, I've been thinking there has to be an easier way. And then in 2016, Georgia passed this licensure rule, giving permission to see supervisors remotely through secure video conference. I started digging into other state rules and realized that 45 states had recently begun to allow supervision to occur online. I thought, someone should really do something about this opportunity. And then I thought, wait, I should do something about this opportunity. In spite of not having a background in building software, I hacked together a simple solution using off-the-shelf HIPAA-compliant software. Our test site quickly grew to over 7,000 in monthly recurring revenue, and we realized we had discovered authentic demand for our solution. The therapist comes to our marketplace platform and searches through our directory of clinical supervisors. We introduce them through a video consultation call. Once the match has been established, they come to our site every single week to see the supervisor. We pay the supervisor as an independent contractor and take a 25% cut of each session. Over the last couple of months, we've begun to generate some early traction. We just completed TechStars Atlanta, where we launched the first version of our product. We doubled our monthly revenue, and we signed 4 university partners and 3 professional associations. Customer growth is increasing 25% month over month, and we have a clear line of sight to our goal of $40,000 in monthly recurring revenue by June of 2019. We are just beginning to raise our seed round of $1 million to be used for product development, customer acquisition, and 3 full-time employees. If you're interested in talking to me about how our team is solving this really important issue, I would love to speak to you more. My name is Rachel McCrickard. I'm the CEO and founder of Motivo. Thank you.
Questions?
Do the supervised sessions happen on your platform?
They do.
And so are you capturing them and learning from them machine learning style, or?
That's where we want to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
How big is this market?
So there's 40,000 new therapists who enter the field every year. You need supervision in your last year of graduate school and the two years that follow. So there's about 120,000 in the pipeline at any given time. They need about 200 of these hours, and average cost is about $80 to $150 an hour.
So you calculated all that up. What does that mean in terms of the total available market?
It's a $1.4 billion market. And that's just the beginning, really, because once you're a therapist and you get your license, you have to continue collecting hours each year to recertify your license on the continuing education. That's a $75 billion market.
And what are the economics of these sessions? So how much goes to the supervisor, how much to you?
Yes, so about 25% goes to us, and it varies in terms of how much the supervisor gets. I can kind of get technical with that, but you need a combination of group hours and individual hours in order to get licensed, so there's different ratios for both of those.
What do you see as your biggest risks, and what are your solutions to those?
Yeah, that's a good question. I say that so I have more time to think about me.
Authenticity.
Authentic.
You know, I would say that it's I need more time. You know, state licensure rules could change that could impact this. We don't see it trending in that direction. You know, Texas just changed their law to be 50% of your supervision can be online to 100%. But, you know, we've been concerned about, well, what if states start going the opposite direction? So I think it's really validating for the state boards why this is important, so that they don't, you know, feel that it's a risk to make this virtual rather than in person.
What's your ultimate vision?
My ultimate vision?
Your big, hairy, audacious goal?
Yeah. You know, I want to push the needle on how easy it is to get licensed as a therapist in the country. I mean, a lot of people have been curious of why we're kind of undercutting the market with our price. It's $60 an hour for supervision. And it's really because therapists in rural areas are not able to get licensed. So the American Helpline says that the shortage of mental health providers can be attributed to how long it takes to become a licensed provider. So these areas that are racked with opioid abuse across our country, they're areas that don't have mental health providers. So I really want to expand that access to them so that there can be as many therapists in rural North Georgia as there are in San Francisco, California.
Good for you.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Thank you, Rachel. Next up is Carol, who is who has been working on AI. Can you stand up just so I can see you? Oh, sorry. Make sure you're there. And has been thinking that it can be applied to solve all your life's problems. So let's hear it for Carol. Yeah.
Hey, so I had my slides ready, and then yesterday I was talking to my coach, and he was like, well, reflect really on what's your pain point that you're trying to solve with this? Like, what is it in you, in your life? Wisdom bot, the wisdom bot is trying to solve. And as I reflected, the thing that came up to me was growing up, being in school, and this is me. Oops. Oh, this is an old slide. Oh, this is a really old slide. I'm sorry. This is really embarrassing.
Keep going.
This is, okay. All right, we'll just roll with it. So I grew up in Soviet Union, and I was on one hand a really bright and diligent student, but on the other hand, I always felt like I just wasn't getting life. I didn't understand what the point was and kind of how to navigate it, how to deal with my emotions, and just I felt really lost. And just it was frustrated and aloof, many other things. And what I realized much later is that what was happening was that I knew a lot of academic knowledge, but I didn't know a lot of wisdom, right? So I was lacking wisdom. And so what is wisdom? So we can say that wisdom is these practices and insights that have to do with reflecting more deeply on life, creating meaningful relationships, setting goals for yourselves, navigating your emotions, all these kind of essential life skills that make us happier, more interesting, more resilient, and ultimately more human, right? And there's been lots of books and resources about that, but they're just really hard to find, hard to access. So that's basically the problem we're trying to solve. And if you've ever basically worked with a skilled coach, you'll know what they do is they ask you about your life situation, and they discern different important patterns, right, that you kind of keep getting stuck in or rubbing up against. And then they ask you reflective questions to help you understand yourself better, and they may offer you resources and practices to not just solve your immediate problem, but also ultimately become more resilient in the long run. And that's exactly how WisdomBot works. Oops.
We're switching your deck.
Oh, that's amazing.
Continue talking.
Okay. So basically, WisdomBot works in the same way. It's an AI chatbot that asks you questions about different areas of your life. It recommends different resources like books, podcasts, different motivational quotes, things like that, that kind of particularly personalized to your personality type, your developmental level, and then it follows up with you on a daily basis to see how the emotional state goes through the day, what challenges you had, kind of keep track of your progress and help you journal and progress. I really want to show you this next part, so I'm going to just pause for a second.
I think you just have to continue.
Okay. And basically what we've created is this elaborate taxonomy of life situations, so spanning areas like relationships and emotional well-being and virtues and stress and addictions, right? And then we've mapped all these different resources to them, right? So as the chatbot is having the conversation with the user, it's mapping the user using natural language processing to these different states in the taxonomy, and then uses machine learning to then recommend the most appropriate resources based on different variables, such as, again, personality type, development level, life situation, other kind of factors. And in the process, we're collecting a lot of really interesting data, such as people's intents, visions, difficulties, which then can be used to recommend products such as personal development courses, or coaches, or therapists, and things like that. And what makes us different is, like for instance, search engines, right? They're not very well adapted for getting life advice because they don't have the ability to ask you these in-depth questions about your situation and really triage where you're getting stuck. And then there's lots of other. Oh, this is me in schoolroom. Soviet Union.
Okay. 30 seconds to finish up.
That's not fair. That's not fair.
It's okay. Keep going. So that's kind of the taxonomy that I was showing. And then we map different resources to, like, for instance, mindfulness is the power of now, and other kind of books and podcasts like that. So we see it as a machine learning problem. And so we're still in a very early stage, but there's some really interesting early experiments and metrics that we can share. So for instance, we have a really good initial conversion rate showing that people are really intrigued to talk to this AI coach, which is a really interesting idea. We have a high response rate. So after the people have the first conversation with WisdomBot, they're eager to have the next conversation that shows that there's some meaningful rapport that gets developed, which is also really cool. But most interestingly, qualitatively speaking, we have this pretty large collection of these really in-depth conversations that happen, and where users share and confide really vulnerable topics and go really deep with these are some examples you can see right here, which is really validates this concept that the AI can actually serve as a meaningful companion and coach. So we're a team of hackers, entrepreneurs, coaches, personal development geeks, and we really believe that AI has a huge role to play in optimizing and scaling transformation. And so I recently became a father, and for me, and I hope for my daughter and kids like her and adults, will have access much more to this kind of wisdom tools than I did when I was growing up. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from?
What is your business model?
That's a good question. So we're experimenting with a few things. Affiliate revenue from books, personal development courses, referring therapists and coaches in a kind of a personalized way. Then we've also kind of working on exploring the B2B model, where it can be WisdomBot applied in a corporate context to help increase employee engagement and well-being. I don't know if it could be one product or separate product. So these are all the ideas that we're currently experimenting with.
How do you know the person's background, attitudes, context, and all that when they show up?
We ask them questions. We ask a lot of these questions that kind of help ask about different life situations. Are you married? These kind of things. Like, what do you think about life? Are you a pessimist or an optimist? And so.
And do you believe people know that about themselves and always tell the truth?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I think that's a longer conversation. But I've been really, one of the most surprising things about this is how eagerly people share. And I think there's something about this creating a safe space for listening and inquiry that the bot provides. So in my experience, people are quite sincere. I mean, you get a wide range. You get people that are just trolling the bot, and that's okay.
And do you plans to add a community or ways of connecting people with each other, actual people too, based on the
That's a
challenges?
really great question. So one of the things with thinking down the road is how do you kind of create this notion of mastery, right? So as you kind of start to navigate these different topics and get more skilled at them, how can you then mentor other people? So that's definitely kind of V2, but we think about that a lot.
Cool, thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the metrics that you use. Do you want to? Yeah.
Last question.
Okay. Tell us a little bit of the metrics of consumer interaction with that, and in terms of how long they last, and how you're measuring that, and how you're tracking that.
Yeah, so we're tracking things like how many conversational turns happen. We have things like we track when we recommend resources, are they relevant? We ask user, do you think this is relevant to you, yes or no? So we track that kind of accuracy. We track follow-up, responsiveness. So right now it's kind of what we're trying to optimize for is, are they having a meaningful and kind of more or less sustained conversation, And part of it is creating more content in a way that's kind of engaging enough to kind of keep going and creates enough novelty, which is obviously a tricky thing to get right, but that's some of the things that we're thinking about right now.
Okay, thank you. All right. Next up we have Sarah. Sarah is using VR in combination with wearables to produce greater emotional well-being. So yeah, let's welcome Sarah.
And my co-founder, Dr. Jeff Tarrant, as well, our Chief Science Officer at StoryUp, and we are the makers of Helium. And this is a product that quickly reduces stress in the brain with XR, VR, AR stories. Story is very important. We'll talk about that. Powered by your biometrics and your emotions, specifically your heart rate and your gamma asymmetry, which is associated with feelings of positivity. So we are an immersive media channel that's powered by those biometrics and those wearables, smartwatches, Muse meditation headbands. And it quickly reduces anxiety in as little as 4 minutes. It is the world's first brain-computer interface and heart rate product for AR and also VR as well. The wavy lines that you see above the screen are gamma asymmetry, specifically your left frontal gamma, which is associated with feelings of love, joy, appreciation, openness. The more those waves are above the red bar, different things happen in the VR and the AR environment. So these are the kits that we sell. A variety of wearables. We have 2 right now. We'll be adding them as the year goes on. And again, you see that waveform right here. That's your gamma asymmetry. As long as it's above the red bar, then butterflies will hatch out of that chrysalis, allowing you to see your emotions for the very first time. How many people hatched butterflies today? Yes, look at all the hands. Love that. It was fun. So this is XR that reacts to your biometrics. We have a product in the market. It is able to allow you to go deeper in a fractal. You can use your feelings to open and close a lotus flower, fly up a waterfall, hatch butterflies with your brain, and do all kinds of fun stuff. It's not just fun. There's actually data to show that it has therapeutic value. So this is immediately before a helium experience and immediately after a helium experience. This is the high beta activity in the brain. Frontiers in Psychology, Journal of Neuroregulation, both published studies showing helium-reduced anxiety in as little as 4 minutes, and we have 3 institutional review board studies. Our traction, we are a seed stage, early stage company. We've had 40,000 downloads. We have annual recurring revenue from blue chip companies. We just recently closed a 28 airline deal, which made my gamma asymmetry, Jeff's gamma asymmetry, go up really high. We have 510,000 committed to our round, 2 peer-reviewed journal articles, a blue chip pilot. We were recently invited and completed a DoD Innovator cohort, and users have hatched 22,000 virtual butterflies with their brain. And that's a look at some of our customers on the right. We offer Sanity as a service as our SaaS business model. Single user license and an enterprise license as well. Hospitals, areas of acute situational workplace stress are installing helium bars for nurses for compassion fatigue, where they can go and escape whatever trauma they've been going through and use media to heal in a powerful way. So some of our buzz, we've been featured on the Today Show, CBS Evening News, Discovery Channel. Our pieces have aired on Huffington Post, Washington Post, and at Cannes at a variety of different film festivals. Our team is very strong and has a high ability to execute. So I'm a media technologist. Dr. Tarrant wrote the book on neuromeditation. He's a licensed neurofeedback specialist and a previous founder as well. Ricky Rockley is an award-winning game designer. Jim Spencer, our executive chair, recently had a $35 million exit when he sold his video company. We are an immersive media company to Scripps, as well as Noah Falstein. He's a former chief of gaming at Google and one of our advisors. So bottom line, the world is no longer flat. It's becoming a place that you have the ability to step inside. Never at a time have we needed emotional healing more than what's happened now. We really have to rethink our media diet and think about what are we consuming, and is it negative fiber that we're putting in our media diet. And Helium allows you to see your emotions for the very first time and to know that they have power to move things, not only in the virtual world, but in the real world as well. Thank you, and with that, I'll take any questions, and also big thanks to the people who helped us learn through the TTA Academy. We learned a lot.
Yeah. You're welcome. Yeah. Question time.
How deep is the content in the product?
So we had 12 different experiences on our platform. And I'm going to come down because I feel like I'm far away from you. We have 12 different experiences on our platform. Every 60 days, a new experience is added to the platform. We have AR and VR as well. And so they get them together as a kit, and they're tagged by emotion. So one of our technologies is a recommendation engine. So much like Netflix would recommend to you, you watch Shameless, therefore you're going to watch Ozark. Our tech has the ability to recommend content to you based on your biometrics. It says, Mira needs gamma today. It pulls from a database of content tagged by that emotion, serves it back up to the user, and says, did we get it? Did we get it there? And I hope that answered your question.
Yep. Thanks.
Okay.
What challenges are you seeing in your client accounts, the corporate accounts, and how are you dealing with this?
So it's education. They've never used these headsets before. It's hygiene, which we're solving with wipes and covers that we put on them. And as far as education, if you buy a Helium kit from us, you get a coaching call. It's a quick 15-minute coaching call. I get you on the phone and a video call. And if you look at a lot of our background, you'll see a lot of our expertise is in video chat. We spend a lot of time in television doing video chat with people behind the scenes. And so a lot of the business that we do is inside group video chat. So invite people in, teach them about the headsets, how to use them, and how to use Helium.
Okay, last question? No? All right, thank you. Okay. So now we have Robin. This is our last VR company, I swear. So Robin's a long-time video game guy, and who's super passionate about incorporating transformative technologies into his business. So let's have Robin come up.
Thank you, Ray. Hi, everyone. So thank you all for your presence here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Orpheus Self-Care Entertainment. We are a video game publisher, and what that means is that it's our job to discover, fund, and distribute titles that we think we can turn into hits. What makes us different from other video game publishers is that we exclusively focus on titles that have a wellness bent. So our games draw inspiration from meditation, from shamanism, from dance, from biofeedback. So this is one of the first of our 4 titles. It's called Sound Self, and it meets this growing interest in altered states of consciousness, but in a safe way. So Sound Self draws inspiration from group ohms and meditation, and it draws the player into a deep trance state where they can feel themselves as vibration. This is the kind of experience that you might otherwise only be able to achieve through deep meditation or skillful psychedelic use. Games, well, seriously, games like ours are meeting a really, really undernourished market need. 80% of millennials are spending 1/4 of their disposable income on well-being, And 66% of them own a gaming console. However, as of yet, there are very few titles that super serve this millennial interest in taking care of themselves without compromising on fun and without compromising on entertainment and immersion. This isn't gamification, which takes the carrots and sticks of gaming and uses it to collude with a player's inner parent. Instead, we entice and play with a player's inner child. So, there are two things that make for a successful publisher. The first is relationships. We're working with Oculus and Facebook to help broaden the appeal of their upcoming VR hardware, Oculus Quest. VR hardware, which, by the way, we think has the potential to break the seal on virtual reality finally as an entertainment platform for everyone. What it needs, though, is good content like ours. And obviously, a relationship like this helps our games reach a wider audience. The second thing is being able to choose titles. But it's not really enough to choose titles that we believe we can make money with. It's about choosing titles that tell a story that's bigger than the titles themselves. So, another publishing company that I draw a lot of inspiration from, and I'm close to, is Devolver Digital. This is an independent games publisher. Their whole brand is around independence, and they helped kickstart the indie game movement about 10 years ago. Indie games are now a huge market force to be reckoned with, and Devolver is a very important publisher. So just as Devolver helped begin and profit from the indie game revolution in gaming about a decade ago, so we are poised to help begin and profit from a wellness revolution in gaming today. And Mike Wilson, who's one of the founders of Devolver Digital, is on our board to help us do that. With a story like that, a game like Sound Self is no longer just sort of an unusual video game experience, an oddity you might want to try. It's a way you love yourself and practice loving yourself. And it's a way that you, as a person who loves games, changes what games are and can be. So we are here to raise $6 million to finance 10 new titles inspired by wellness. These titles are going to seed an idea in the public that video games can be even more entertaining, fun, powerful, and even beautiful if they draw inspiration from wellness traditions and help us take care of ourselves. Thank you.
Questions?
Robin, what's your business model?
Oh, yeah. So as a publisher, we take between 30% and 60% of the titles that we work with, depending on our investment. So one of our titles, our first title to come out, is called Rave Runner. It's a dance experience, pulls you into your body. And we discovered them, began working with them, gave them money to help them get to a place where that has sufficient polish, because to appeal to gamers, it needs to be really polished, and it really can't compromise on fun. So getting it to a place where it's sufficiently polished, we can get it out there, then we take a percentage of sales.
Are you producing these games or distributing these games, or both?
Both. We, our primary role is as a distributor, but on our team, I've been in independent games for about a decade. So I know the other side of this relationship really well. Job Stauffer, who's somewhere in here. Job, can you stand up? So this guy's been in the AAA side of things for a long time as well, and he knows, well, he's just really good at, I forget your question, actually. I got distracted.
It was Mike's question.
He's cool. He's good at stuff.
It was my question. Are you producing or distributing, or both?
Oh, yeah. So, but we help produce our titles if there's need for that, and there's usually need for that.
Help produce mean you put money into them?
Oh, yeah. Putting money into them is a huge part of what we do.
So what happens if you put money into a title that turns out not to be popular?
Well, that's anticipated. Our goal is to finance 10 games per year by 2021 so that we can handle flops. And in fact, flops are part of the deal here. We can only experiment and really do as good a job in this domain as we want to by trusting and trying a lot of different ideas out. The ones that work, we make a lot of money with, we build sequels and so on. The ones that don't, it's part of the plan.
What happens if people don't buy the new Oculus headset? They don't want it. They're not ready for it yet.
Well, we're not actually exclusively a virtual reality company. 3 of our first titles are virtual reality because we have this relationship with Oculus that we want to take advantage of. But one of our first 4 titles is an iPhone game that we also want to bring to Nintendo Switch. And yeah, there's no reason, like we would definitely work with PC titles. In fact, there's a product that we're working on developing that would be a little more PC-like. Augmented reality is also interesting to us, but it's a little further down the line.
How are you acquiring users currently?
It depends on the title. So the model it's a hit-driven industry. Video games are pop culture. And so it doesn't really work to like put things out and like, I mean, some games do this, but our approach is hit-driven. So we build up and build up to a launch. Right now with Rave Runner, we are working with Twitch. Does anyone know what Twitch is? Twitch is like live YouTube. So we're working with a bunch of Twitch stars to help them get access to our titles, to get that content out there, people seeing people dance in Rave Runner before it's actually publicly available. But fundamentally, the answer to your question is we don't seed and get small and then grow little and then grow little. With each title, we build up to a launch and then we hit it hard.
All right. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you, Ray.
Okay, now we have our last company coming all the way from Toronto. Actually, she was just arriving from Lisbon, I believe. It is usually in Toronto. Alana, who is the founder of Flipped app. So if you think you're addicted to your device and need help, then Flipped is probably a good solution for you. Let's welcome Alana.
I'd love to hear what the deal is here.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. My name's Alana, and I'm the co-founder and CMO of Flipped. And today, I'm going to start by talking about screen time. So it might come as no surprise to you that on average, we're spending over 5 hours a day on our phones. Now that's 5 hours not spent time on doing things that make you happy and productive. And there's actually a direct correlation between more time spent on screens and unhappiness. Across multiple age groups, the more time spent on screens has led to a rise in depression, anxiety, loneliness, and other mental health-related outcomes. Now, aside from affecting our well-being, it's also affecting the economy. But so far, most of the mainstream applications that we have today are meditate or see a therapist. And the problem with that is that's like telling someone who cares about their physical health to either go for a run or go to the doctor. It needs to be more versatile than that. It needs to be a daily habit. Which is why at Flipped, our mission is to make digital wellness an easy, accessible, daily habit. And this mission resonates around the world because we've been featured by the New York Times, Washington Post, and hundreds of other media publications globally. We also have a team that resonates with our mission. Christian, my co-founder and CEO, studied neuroscience at U of T, and I have a marketing and communications background from Ryerson. We're also backed by awesome investors like Techstars and some of the leading angels in Toronto. Now, what is Flipped? Well, we are like a Fitbit for your screen time that nudges your attention away from your phone, helping you focus on things that make you happy and more productive. We also track over 1 billion mindful moments since we launched, understanding exactly what activities our users engage in that make them more productive. What's also awesome is that we make it social to disconnect. So we have thousands of micro mindful communities where our users engage with each other to disconnect and enjoy offline moments. And what's best is that we asked over 2,000 of our users and found that 2 out of 3 of them said that Flipped has helped their well-being since they joined. Now this year, we've been growing really fast. We have over 500,000 users already, and since January, we've grown our weekly active users by 200%. We also have nearly 30,000 paying customers in our B2C channel, education, and soon we'll be in businesses across North America helping address burnout and work-life balance. Our vision for Flipped is to be the one-stop hub for digital wellness, helping you achieve your goals, whatever they may be. My name's Alana, co-founder of Flipped. We are raising $1.5 million. We're about halfway through that round already. We're open to talking to investors, partners, and researchers as well in this space. So looking forward to talking to you after. Thank you.
All right, questions.
How do you get a community to come together when they're not on their phones? Can you expand on that?
Yeah. So we have sort of a champion who creates their community, and then what they do is they set a time for when they want Flip to nudge everyone who's part of the community to spend time offline, and then they track that on a leaderboard. So, for example, if you've created your community to flip off every day at 6 o'clock, that's when everyone will gather and compete against each other to do that. Great. Yeah.
Other questions?
What's the valuation?
Sorry?
The valuation?
It has not been determined yet. We can talk about that after if you're interested.
Other questions? No? No other questions for Alina?
Tell us about your customer acquisition model, how much it's costing you now and what you expect that to be in the future.
Yeah, so we haven't really been spending very much on acquisition, so we grow by about 35 to 40,000 new users a month. A lot of that has been a result of really good SEO. So like I said, we've been in publications globally since we started. PR has been a really big strategy for us, but it's all really our own outreach. And then we also have champions and ambassadors that we reach out to, and they work with creating their communities. So instead of paying for influencers, like a typical influencer model, we're actually just, we're sort of helping them achieve milestones within Flipped, which is grow your community to X, and we'll send you prizes and gift cards and things like that. And that's one way we've really rallied around growing our community.
What's your business model for the corporate market?
Well, we're going to be tying in an offline component as well, which brings someone into the workplace to talk and coach people around work-life balance. But it would be the same as how we're selling the product today, which is having the premium version of the application.
And how much
available.
again was that?
So it's $23 a year.
Okay.
How long are people staying on your subscription?
How
long?
What's our retention?
Yes, thank you. That's the word.
So monthly retention is around 30% after 6 months, and yearly is something we haven't been really tracking it long enough to know. Any other questions?
Excellent. See, I knew there were more questions. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
So those are our 6 companies, and what we're going to do now is we're going to have sort of 2 things before we reveal what the winners are. The first thing is I am here to introduce Gordy. Let me make sure we have the marketing video for Gordy queued up. So what's going to happen is that, as you know, we have 2 prizes to award today. So, I see lots of people in the audience, so please stay until we reward the prizes. One of them is a generous donation from Gordy, who is, let me introduce him properly. He's a devoted husband and a father to 3 spirited boys, and he spent over a decade building advertising technologies and launching multiple successful digital marketing companies. So in 2015, he founded an organization called Conscious Thought Revolution, which redeploys capital, invests in disruptive technologies, entrepreneurs, and media to accelerate the evolution of human consciousness, which is why I think he was asking about valuation earlier, because he had some capital to deploy. But specifically for today, he's going to show us a little bit more about what he does, because this is a large partner of the TT conference, and also he will be awarding I think $25,000 worth of marketing to 1 lucky company out of the 6 who presented. So yeah, let's first show the video, shall we? One moment. Meditate for 15 seconds.
What is a conscious thought revolution? Conscious Thought Revolution is a movement, an organized movement and a call to action to wake up and pave the way for a future of abundance.
We believe that the root cause of the problems that we face as a species is actually our collective state of consciousness. And so this old Einstein quote really resonates. We cannot solve the problems with the same consciousness we use to create them.
When I was a kid, I was wondering kind of what's the meaning of life? Why are we here? What's it all about? And I came to the conclusion that what really matters is trying to understand the right questions to ask. The more that we can increase the scope and scale of human consciousness, the better we are able to ask these questions.
Our children are our awakeners. They are our teachers.
There's a huge evolution in consciousness from neuroscience.
A conscious thought revolution is one in which an individual begins to realize how powerful they are to design their life and to create the world they want.
The guys at Conscious Thought Revolution, they are at the vanguard of this work, bringing together entrepreneurs, startup thinkers, big picture Imagineers, moving social capital, investing in game-changing individuals.
CTR is a conscious capital venture fund, investing in disruptive technologies and game-changing entrepreneurs that are dedicated to raise human consciousness, regenerate the planet, explore the universe, and end suffering. A traffic and marketing network that connects people to products, services, media, and education that measurably raises individual and collective consciousness, using marketing as a force for good. Our thoughts are investments too. Where we invest our thoughts is just as, if not more important, as where we invest our money. The future of investment is not just return on investment, rather return on impact. To truly change how we live as a species, we must consciously choose where we invest our financial and thought capital.
Exponential technologies that are disrupting these old ways, like blockchain, 3D printing, virtual reality, drones, nanotechnology, augmented reality. These are all technologies that can be leveraged and used to help make the planet a better place to live. And if we help raise human consciousness, we can actually use these technologies with conscious awareness instead of having these technologies use us.
Join us as we invest in the future of our planet and the future of our children. The journey of transformation starts inside of you. We invite you to choose, learn, grow, and expand your mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual awareness. Start now on CTR.com. Accelerate your journey. Everything is possible. Be a part of it. Join the Conscious Thought Revolution.
Awesome, thank you. We'll have Gordy give his prize later. So not right now. So the 6 companies you guys can start thinking about, channel good thoughts to Gordy and hope he picks you. Next, we're gonna have Jeff, who gave a speech earlier about Evolution Partners, who is one of our main sponsors and also a core part of the TTA Academy. We'll give him some thoughts on his participation and Evolution's work as part of the Academy.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks. Yeah, just really quickly, because I know we're all waiting with bated breath to see who wins this competition. But yeah, as Ray said, as part of the Trans Tech Academy, we had the honor and privilege of getting to work with a few hundred of the companies who were part of this, and did 4 weeks of workshops with all of them to help them to develop themselves on all those dimensions that we talked about: the individual, the collective, the we dimension, and then their processes and practices. And it was an incredible experience to do this with people from all over the world, entrepreneurs working in this important field. Each week we spent an hour doing a workshop, giving them some homework, a lot of reading, et cetera, so they could be thinking about how they're creating their business in an revolutionary way right from the start. And obviously, as we know, starting a business is extremely hard, just like having a product that works, product market fit, so much else that's critical to any successful business. But the fact that there was so much interest by this entire audience of companies in the academy for their own consciousness and self-awareness, for the relationships between co-founders, which is a pretty common problem for startups to overcome, as well as how they're thinking about everything from hiring, onboarding employees, to how they're going to give feedback to one another, and everything else about their business was really incredible to participate in at this stage. And so we're really happy that we're going to have the chance to select 10 of the companies that were in the academy and be providing coaching for them as part of our service to our local community of startups and these early stage companies who normally don't get to pay for coaching and work with companies like us. So we're going to be offering that for the next 3 months to 10 of those companies that we'll be announcing not tonight, but shortly. And so that's basically, I think, about all I can tell you right now. It's something that I just say for all of you, if you haven't, I heard a couple of you talk about having coaches and a product that can help support each of you out there in your work. Can't say enough about looking into it for yourself and doing that, taking that step. There's more offering than ever for people to get that kind of support who are leading companies, working in them with really talented people who are become coaches in the space. And we need more coaches all the time. At Evolution, we have a platform that supports people who are becoming coaches, who are experienced coaches, to work together in a community and offer this to founders and leaders of all sorts of companies all around the world. So really happy to be here with all of you. And I think we're ready. Are we ready, Nicole, or should I do this? They're outside deliver. Do you want to have a conversation with me up on stage? So how many people here went through the academy?
Oh, yeah.
That's a good question. Great. Welcome.
Awesome. Yay!
Really great to see. It's awesome to see all of you. Yeah, it was really incredible doing Zoom calls with like 300 people and getting to see all of your little faces on the screen while we did the academy. So.
Okay, they're back.
They're ready.
So.
I did the extension thing. Okay.
We're ready. So how about we have Gordy throw up his slide, his prize, and then announce his winner, and also a few words on, why and everything else, as you know.
Hello. Before anything else, can we all please give a round of applause to Nicole, Rui, and Jeff for the amazing job they've done. So a really quick short story about CTR. I spent a past lifetime as an advertiser and online marketer. I sold my soul, but I regained it back. And I was going to build a platform to, if anybody knows anything about online marketing, CTR stands for click-through rate, and that's the key indicator of an online successful campaign. So I was going to build a platform that was going to automate and optimize click-through rate. And when I started my own journey of transformation, what was shown to me that we as a species, we don't need a higher click-through rate. What we need... What we need is a revolution of thought. And that's why I was actually supposed to be in Iceland today, this weekend, doing like some Wim Hof stuff, but Nick, I couldn't say no to Nicole to come and support this amazing work that she's doing and everybody here is doing. So one of the incubated companies we have is called Conscious Partners, where we're actually using marketing as a force for good. And we help entrepreneurs that are dedicated to raise human consciousness by helping them distribute and scale their product and service to the masses. All these pitches were amazing. I'm sure the amazing investors will agree. So I actually just changed it up. I'm going to give away 2 prizes. That's the main prize. The second place I am going to give is a CTR hoodie to Alana from Flipped, can you please come up and accept this? It's going to be really big, but...
You know what? Is this because you saw me shivering? Because I've been freezing all day.
You're welcome. Okay, and so who we want to give the first place prize to, which is going to include a brand video similar to the one that you saw for CTR, and a whole website makeover, redo, and also a customized strategic marketing plan for that specific company. And that is going to go to Rachel of Motivo. I don't have anything physical to give you except a hug. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, all right. And then can I have the investors all go up? And then you guys will get a mic. Yeah. Okay, so please go up on stage. Don't be shy. Zach, where were you running off to?
So we didn't coordinate with Gordy over here, but we also selected Motivo. So
Woo!
Congratulations.
Rachel, come back up here. So just to be really clear, this is investor's choice, but there's no cash prize. However, what they will do is sort of explain to the audience their thoughts behind, feedback. Remember Mike earlier went on about, entrepreneurs not asking for investor feedback, and here you'll hear more from Mike and the rest.
I guess we are live. Okay. Well, what we liked, I think, about yours was you, the genuineness, the degree to which you were being you up here, and clearly we're excited about what you're talking about, and you were describing a real business, I think, and I think all of us felt like we had a picture of the business you were describing to a degree that was stronger than any of the other companies. There were a lot of interesting ideas up here, but this one, there's a real market problem. We got it. There's change in law that makes an opportunity. You've got domain expertise. It had all of the elements that make it really interesting, certainly interesting enough for our fund to spend time looking at.
I resonated on a lot of those points. I thought you presented incredibly well. We felt a connection with you. We all agreed on that right away. Identifying the market was fantastic, and already starting and connecting with customers. And I like the disruptive nature. There definitely is a need for more therapists. As more people lose their jobs, we're going to need a lot more of those in your position, right? And personally, I think long-term AI is a potential threat, but you're already ahead of that with how you're working with content. So really good insight. Congrats.
I think everything's been said. Great job, and your ability to take an existing business model and find a huge new marketplace, which is untapped, and you can just grab that. And maybe also think in the future of additional related areas where that service can be offered. So good luck.
Can I just get you guys to hug and take a photo? All right. Woo! Oh, thank you. Yeah. I just want to thank you all for staying and watching our first ever Pitch Fest. Thank you all to all the companies that came. Some of you came from really far away, and all of them worked really, really hard on their pitches. If you have ideas, leads, customer leads, partnership leads for any of the entrepreneurs who presented, you know who they are now. So please go ahead and find them. Thank you.